Hello and welcome to a Uniko video with me, Bev, the owner and designer of all things Uniko. Today is day one of our April 2025 product release introductions. And today we have a beautiful butterfly set called BST Serenade. And this one is the fourth in a collection of Serenade stamps, which I'll just, if you haven't seen them before, I'll just give you a quick preview of them here, because I can't remember if I have done any videos using any of these. The first one in the series was this one called Snowflake Serenade, which, as you can see, is snowflakes, but it has these sort of holly leaves as well, swirling to go down your card, and then it has some accent snowflakes and a trio of sentiments. So this was the first in the series, and then I got to thinking and I decided that there should be like a Valentine's version with falling hearts, and you'll might recognize some of the heart designs and the shapes. The shape of the heart matches Background Builder's heart and also the hearts in Big and Bold Love. And the rose is a take on Pure Floral's rose as well. So there are some sort of interlinking stamp sets that you'd be able to use alongside this. And then it's got some mix and match Valentine's and love themed sentiments. And just going back to this one, although the snowflakes are, I believe, a little bit different, they do coincide with some of the Background Builders Christmas, and also the Stunning Snowflakes works wonderful with this as well. So I always try to tie in other stamp sets that you might have. And then the more recent one, apart from the one I'm introducing today, is Autumn Serenade. And this one has a few nods to a couple of sets. The Nature's Treasures, the original one, and that's about it really. I think it might have a couple of nods towards maybe the Rustic wreath and some older retired ones, but I needed a leafy one, and obviously I've given it an autumn theme, mainly with the sentiments and things, and then we think of fall with the leaves falling. But saying that, this works wonderfully all year round, I think, with a nice sort of foliage theme. Anyway, let's get to today's. I've popped it behind a piece of white card here. And butterflies. Yep, I know I'm on a bit of a butterfly obsession at the minute. I re-released a butterfly set last month and brought out a layering stencil. But I couldn't resist bringing out a butterfly version of the Serenade stamps. Now, if you've been around here at Uniko for a while, you might recognise the design of this butterfly. It was a design I used for the BST Papercraft Society Box, and I have shrank it down just a little bit. I was supposed to get it out before I started the video, but I'll show you a size comparison. Just find it here. So this was the original that was part of the BST Papercraft Society Box. There was another stamp set as well. I just had a die cut. So you'll see here, like the smallest butterfly one up here, there is quite a size difference. So I've tried not to, replicate it exactly. So they can be used together if you did already have this Papercraft Society Box stamps. And then I just changed some up a little bit, gave them a bit of a variation to create this lovely sort of like swirling butterfly design. So you get the swirl, which is one stamp, which I'll demonstrate shortly, and then you get 3 individual butterflies, a little trio of blossoms, and then the 2 sentiments. And these are a couple of cards that I've made. This first card here, the purple one, which is unusual for me to use a coloured card base, was one of the cards that we made at the Uniko Spring Stamping Retreat recently, earlier in the month. And I just did some simple sort of like tone on tone colouring with the Prismacolor pencils, something I've not done for a long time. And I heat embossed it. It came out a little bit bobbly. I should have inked it a couple more times to get a smoother sort of impression before I heat embossed, but it's still pretty and beautiful. And I used the Let Your Dreams Be Your Wings sentiment on that one. And this one I shared on social media today, where I've used this single butterfly here and given it a rainbow theme. I've fussy cut the butterflies out, just popped them up with some foam adhesive, and then I added a sentiment. This one is from another stamp set I'll be introducing later this week. And yeah, it just, butterflies and rainbows makes my heart happy. So I thought I'd just simply show you a simple card that you can create using this stamp set. So I've got my stamping platform out, and I can see there's still an impression using the pigment ink from the workshop. So I'll just rub that off, let it dry a sec. I'm going to use the stamping platform. It is quite an easy stamp to stamp, but with it being a little bit larger, it is easier, like most things with your stamping platform, in case you need to re-stamp it to get a perfect impression or a complete impression. I try to not have this sort of perfect attitude when it comes to card making, because we all want a bit of personality and character to our cards. So you need to be a little bit careful when peeling off this stamp. It is in a swirly shape, so even though I do get my stamps manufactured in a thicker photopolymer to reduce the risk of tearing, just, you know, there's always a chance that it could, so just be careful when peeling it off. And as you see, it does fit. So this base is 10.5 by 14, but I'm just sort of like wiggling it around just so it fits in nicely. This stamp also works beautifully on a DL size card, so the same sort of size that I've used here. I've done it with the falling hearts, and I think I've done it with the leaves in the past. So yeah, it is a lovely stamp. So I'm just going to pop these down just so it keeps my card in place. I did use a bit of repositional adhesive as well. It's by Stick It. I think I get it off Amazon. So I'm just going to stamp it in black because I want you to really be able to see this butterfly image once it's stamped. And it's also striking against colour, isn't it? So making sure I'm in view. Use my little pug just to help me. My arms are aching after this past weekend. I've been out we managed to get down all the fence that we need to replace. It was hard work. It's going to be a bigger job than we planned. And so yes, my arms are aching a little bit today. But all is good. See, I'm just repeat stamping just where a couple of the solid butterflies didn't quite get full coverage. And there we have, it has this time a little bit of a sort of hair. I think Callie was around me earlier when I had just cleaned the stamps. So one of her, she's molting, so the fluff is just getting everywhere at the minute quite easily. So I'm just cleaning that off just so I don't get ink everywhere when I peel it off. I'm going to use the Have a Delightful Day sentiment, and I'm going to pop it up here at the top if I don't drop it in the ink. I can see it's still a little bit wet. I'm just putting this stamp back down so it doesn't get lost, get stuck to anything. I thought I'd lost my mini Misty the other day. I couldn't find it anywhere, and I'm texting my friend, have you seen it after the work? This was after the workshop, and I know we didn't leave anything. It was stuck behind my magnetic Wendy Vecchi Make It board that I use for stenciling. It was stuck behind there because obviously it's got magnets in as well. So I thought that was quite funny. I couldn't find it, and then all of a sudden there it was, hiding in plain sight. So I'm going to stamp the sentiment up there in this gap, and the idea of me adding the individual stamps, the individual butterflies, is that you can infill to create an all over pattern, but then you can use them individually as well. So there's lots of options, I think. So I'm going to do that, and then what I'm going to do is stamp some of them separately, the individual ones, so then we can fussy cut them out and sort of give a bit of dimension to the card so it's not completely flat. So I have another piece of card here. I'm just going to stick it in, and I'm going to grab this one. And these as well. And I'm just going to stamp them and then leave them to dry while we add a little bit of colour, and then I'll fussy cut these out and we can add a little bit of dimension with them. They are quite small, but as you know me, I do like fussy cutting. I know it's not to everyone's liking of fussy cutting, but hey ho, we can't please everyone, can we? So I think this is a set that you can have a lot of fun with, especially if you like butterflies. And if you've checked out the brand ambassador blog hop today, you'll see that the brand ambassadors have paired this set with some really beautiful ideas and inspiration. It'll pair lovely. If you see on the solid butterflies that they are shining a little bit, that the ink is still a little bit wet, so just need to be careful when I'm colouring. Usually I would heat set it or let it dry for half an hour or so before going into colour, especially with alcohol markers. These are just the Stampin' Blends. I quite like these for flat colouring. I know they are for blending, but for me, if I know that I am just adding some flat colour, I will just use these sort of markers rather than my Copics. I'm finding, even though I use my Copics now and then, and I store them correctly, I'm finding a few tips have dried up recently. I've had my Copics for many years, but it is a bit frustrating when they start to dry up a little bit, so I really need to use them more, I suppose, but these just so easy to reach for. So I'm just adding some really simple colour here. So these Stampin' Blends, they come in 2 shades, and of course, like most brands, they match their ink and their cardstock. I used to buy a lot of Stampin' Up stuff, especially card and colours and things, but I tailed off a little bit when they changed the format of their inks. I didn't like the new pads that they had. They just didn't sit. I just didn't like them like the old ones. And as you know, I tend to reach for Concord and 9th inks now. Anyway, so there's lots of ways that you could add colour with this stamp. You could ink blend your background first, do a lovely ombre hue, and I think it was Izzy has done a beautiful ombre stamp image in turquoises, I believe it was, going sort of up and down the card in a lovely ombre effect, which looks beautiful. Obviously you can heat emboss it, and emboss it sparkly. There's lots. I'm sure if you love butterflies, your creative juices using this stamp will be flowing. And obviously there'll be more inspiration on release day using this stamp set. It's the only thing I have found with some of these markers is that they do come apart easily, which is a little bit frustrating. So I'm using I've used Bermuda Bay, and these are Pool Party, lovely aqua turquoisey colours, to give this butterfly an ombre effect. And the other one I used was Flirty Flamingo. So I'm just doing some really easy flat colouring. You could spend a lot more time colouring and beautifying these butterflies. I mean, if you really like fussy cutting and things, you could paper piece these butterflies as well, if you have the patience to do it. And these ones are Calypso Coral. It's a colour I've not used for such a long time, and I saw it there and thought, oh, I'm gonna dust it off and give it a whirl. So I got my hands on the new Concord and 9th colours just before Easter. and just before we went away for a little family getaway. And when I first saw the colours, I wasn't wowed by them, let's just say. They were lovely, they are lovely colours, but I didn't go, oh wow. But I have to say that I'll be using them later this week. I have got a few new favourites that I'll be using a lot more. I did use them in a card on Thursday last week. I inked up the Picked Posies stencil, which is still like super popular amongst everyone. And I'm still really enjoying the stencil as well. But so this week we've got 5 new products to introduce. This is the first one. There's 3 stencils and 2 stamp sets, so lots to show you. So that is my simple colouring. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of colour to this butterfly. I think I might go in with some pink. Again, trying not to think too much about adding the colour. I didn't get any other pinks out of the box. I usually have them stored near me, but I haven't put them away yet. I'm still tidying up and whatnot after the workshop. Yes, I've given myself I haven't been very present on social media or YouTube. I apologise for that. April isn't my favourite month, and I've given myself a little bit of grace and a little bit of time away from social media, and sometimes I just think it's needed. With running Uniko basically by myself, you don't get much of a break, so I have given myself a little bit of break. So I do apologise for not being as present, and obviously it's the school holidays. The beans have been off. They've got the rest of this week and then they go back to school on Monday, but they've only got 4 weeks and then they're off again for May half term, which obviously they're super stoked about. I don't mind them being off. They are good boys, and they've actually been away this past weekend. They went away to a caravan with the grandparents, so they've come back to all their gadgets and are having a chilled out day today, so I've been able to catch up on a few bits and pieces. So I'm just going to fussy cut these out, and then we're just going to add them to the card using foam adhesive and sort of like just infill. And obviously there's this little trio of blossoms here that appear in the swirl, so you could add them in to fill the pattern out if you wanted to. And you can also curve, sort of like fit in the stamp set as well, the stamps, sorry. So you could sort of like add more swirls as well, just by sort of changing the orientation a bit, just to infill gaps if you wanted the whole card filled. Obviously you could leave it like this and just add some rhinestones or enamel dots or glitter to the wings and things. So there's so much choice. But I hope you like it as much as I do. As I say, if you were lucky enough to get one of the Uniko Papercraft Society boxes when they were out, it will pair beautifully with the stamps in there. I might in the future get the stamps done and sell them through Uniko now, as obviously Craft Stash has closed, unfortunately, but they wouldn't have restocked this set, being the Papercraft Society Box, and I had no plans to do anything else with them. So they never bought my designs actually off me. I still owned the copyright of them all, so if there is demand, I might bring them out in the future. We'll see. I've got so many new ideas constantly, that yes, it was nice to reuse this design and change it up a bit, and but yeah, I've always got something else in mind, and ideas floating around my head waiting to come out. So yeah, I think it's a nice little release, and I think there's something for everyone in it. And I think, like this set, it pairs with stuff that you might already have of Uniko, sort of like stretching your stash a little bit, and the other products are like that as well a little bit, that they're gonna, if you already own some of the stuff, it'll give you some fresh sort of inspiration to dust them off again and use them, hopefully. But yeah, so this is a little bit tricky because it is tiny, but it is doable. As you can see, I'm moving the paper rather than the scissors. And I do think it helps using, this is the Stampin' Up! Thin cardstock, and it's one that I have used for a very, very long time, and I've got used to using it. And I find it easy to cut. This one is a little bit trickier as it is really super tiny. It was lovely the other day being out in the garden. I actually saw a few butterflies. I saw a lovely one. I'll have to try and look it up to see if I can find the name of it. But yeah, all the butterflies are starting to appear. I guess there are, I don't know a huge amount about butterflies, but I'm guessing there are ones that come out earlier than others. But it's sad that they're not as frequent in gardens as they used to be. So as we're currently in lockdown here in the northeast, and quite a lot across the UK, I think, really, the chickens are locked up, so I might actually get a few more plants planted out this year that don't get dug up by my chickens. I haven't been able to put a lot of plants in the garden for the last couple of years, or in pots, because they just climb in and start digging them out. So I'm just adding a little bit of foam adhesive to the back, just to the centres, so you can lift the wings up a little bit to give sort of that fluttering feel. And again with this one, I have previously cut some of these squares in half, so it is quite fiddly, but that one was even tinier piece. I just love this thickness of foam adhesive. It's 1mm thick, so it gives you a little bit of lift, a little bit of dimension, but without adding the bulk. So if I made this into an opening card, it would still fit through as a normal letter. so you don't have to go up on the large letter postage. Postage just seems to be horrendous in price at the minute, just like most things. And then you could go in and add a bit of bling if you wanted to. I've got some little rhinestones that I might just add to some of the flower centers here. So I have these little tiny ones. You just go in and add. I'm adding them to the larger, even though they're tiny rhinestones, I think they might just drown the smaller flowers out a little bit. So I'm just adding them to the large flower. Just to give a little bit of sparkle to the card. And I think in the past I've actually added them to the dots as well. In the swirl, I've added them to these going round when I've been sort of like in an extravagant mood. So this is Butterfly Serenade. I hope you have enjoyed today's video, and sorry for all my little ramblings. I don't talk to a lot of people on a daily basis. Obviously I talk to my kids, but hey ho. So this stamp set, along with all the products I'm introducing this week, will be available on Sunday at 9 AM BST. We are now in British summertime. And I will also have them at Craftorama in Lincoln, where I will be on Sunday. So along with a fabulous introductory week of all these products, I am busy behind the scenes getting ready for Lincoln show as well. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you will like and subscribe to the Uniko channel, and I will be back again tomorrow with another new product introduction. See you later. Bye for now.